So thank you guys for joining us over here. We are super appreciative that you are patient with us, have been patient with us through all of the tech issues that we've had. So we know that Zoom works because we use it all the time. So we figured instead of doing the Facebook Live, we bring you into our Zoom room. So welcome to the Mocha Moms National Zoom Room. I am absolutely thrilled to have all of the beautiful women on this panel with me tonight. They are from various areas throughout the country, and they will introduce themselves in just a moment. So again, we want you to engage with us in the chat. We want you to ask questions. If something resonates with you that you can relate to, give us the amen, give us the waving hand, give us the I know girl, me too, all of that in the chat. So be authentic and engaging in the conversation with us. We're super happy to have you here. So I'll introduce myself. My name is LaShaun Martin. I am the National Vice President of Operations at Mocha Moms. And we are going to go around the room now and introduce the rest of our panel. So Kuae.
Hello, Mochas. Hello, dads. Hello, family members. Hello, everyone who's joined us. We are so excited to have you. My name is Kuae Mattox. I am the National President of Mocha Moms. It is such an honor to be the National President of this esteemed and wonderful sisterhood. Joining me today are some incredible and inspirational leaders, and we look forward to this chat. Oh, I live in Montclair, New Jersey. I'm right outside of New York City, and you'll get to meet the rest of our leaders from all across the country. Thank you.
I missed that on my introduction. I'm in Maryland, Prince George's County. Cheli.
Hello, everyone. I'm Cheli English-Figaro, and I am one of the 4 co-founders of Mocha Moms. We started this in 1997. It's a long time ago, and I'm still here, the organization, and it is going strong, and I'm so proud of these ladies who have taken over the helm. So grateful, thankful, blessed that you all are here with us, and I'm just looking forward to a wonderful conversation. And I'm from Bowie, Maryland, which is Prince George's County, but really that's where I live, but I'm from New York. You hear my accent a little bit. That's where it's from.
Awesome, thanks Cheli. Shalaun.
Hello, Mochas, friends and family. My name is Shalaun Newton. I'm so excited to be part of this post-Mother's Day chat with you all. Looking forward to spending the evening with you. I used to live in Prince George's County, was part of the Northern Prince George's County chapter, and now I'm in Minnesota.
Thanks, Shalaun. Danae.
Hi, Mochas and husbands and Mocha dads and friends and family. I'm Danae Jones-Eicher, National Director of Communications for Mocha Moms, Inc. Thrilled to be here. Cannot wait to have this discussion with my sisters. I am currently in outside of Asheville, North Carolina. I'm in Hendersonville, Western North Carolina.
Thanks, Danae. Tiffany.
Hi, ladies. Hi, Mochas and moms and everyone who's joining us tonight. My name is Tiffany Kerr, and I am Mocha Moms Incorporated National Director of Community Service. I live in Bergen County, New Jersey. However, I am a Cali girl at heart, but I am just living in the Jersey world over here. So thank you, ladies, for joining us tonight. I can't wait to chat.
Thanks, Tiffany. Cree.
Hello, beautiful Queen Mochas. So excited to be here. Thankful for Zoom and platforms like Zoom to keep us connected in times like this. And so I can see all your beautiful faces. I'm representing the Southern Belles, the Southern Girls. I'm in Georgia, Atlanta, Georgia, and I am the Southeast Regional Director.
Thanks, Cree. Brooke.
Hi, everybody. I'm Brooke Hawkins. I'm the National Marriage Support Program Director. I'm based in Silver Spring, Maryland, so I'm actually a dual member with the Silver Spring chapter, in addition to the Southern Prince George's County chapter, where I got my start and where they groomed me and gave me an appreciation for Mocha Moms as a whole. So I'm happy to be here. I'm beyond honored to be a part of this panelist with all these people who are way smarter than I am. And I'm just excited to talk to you all. So yay, I'm excited.
Awesome. Thanks, Brooke. All right, now I'm going to go to Tenise.
Hi, good evening, Mochas. My name is Tenise Hordge. I am currently the president of DFW South. So I just want to say hi to all the Mochas and my friends and family that are on and the hubby. Much Mocha love.
Hubby's on too. Ivory.
Hello, good evening, ladies and gentlemen, moms, dads, friends, and family. I am Ivory McGee Perry. I am the president of North Tampa, Florida, but I'm a Jersey girl at heart, so that's where I got my start in Bergen County Mocha Moms. But we're here in the sunshine state of Florida. Thank you for having me.
Awesome, thank you. You mute for us? Oh, there you are.
I'm sorry. Hi, everybody. My name is Nicola Horton, and I am the co-president of an amazing chapter of women, along with my co-president, Stephanie, San Fernando Valley in California. And I come there by way of Boston, so I'm an East Coast girl on the West Coast. I'm so happy to be having a conversation with people other than the little people and my husband that live here at my house with me. Any conversations I can have with any adults are appreciated. And I'm really looking forward to having a conversation about moms today, and hello to my mom and my sisters who are on with us today.
Awesome. Stephanie.
Hey, everybody. Happy Friday. We made it, y'all. My name is Stephanie Hazzard. I am the co-president with my wonderful sister, Nicola. Truly a sisterhood, so I really appreciate that. We are co-presidents of the San Fernando Valley chapter in California, although I was born and raised in Queens, New York, so I represent the East Coast all day, but loving the West Coast right now because I get to be a Mocha, and that's where I started. So really excited to have some great conversations and just really go on this motherhood journey with all of you, as it is a journey that we must partake in together. So thank you for having me.
Awesome. Thank you, Stephanie. I believe that is everyone. Do I have everyone? Yeah. Awesome. All right, ladies. So we are going to dive into our conversation. We have some wonderful questions for you this evening. And Danae, my co-host, is going to assist me with the questions this evening. And we, first of all, ladies, want to thank you for being part of this panel. We know that we are busy mothers. We know that we are homeschooling. We know that we are working, some of us, inside of the home and outside of the home. So we just want to thank you for your time. We are in various areas of the country, so it's getting late for some of us, and it's just starting to become evening time for the rest of us. So again, thank you tremendously for your time. Okay. All right. So let's jump into the first question. Danae, I'm going to ask you to take over the first question, and then we'll just kind of go around the room and get some answers from some of you. Those of you that are watching on the webinar, feel free to engage with us in the chat. And if you have a question, you can also go to the question link and ask us there. Danae, I'm going to turn it over to you.
Great. So this first question, just to start us bringing back all the great memories and making new ones. How do you, or did you, refer to your mom? And how do your children refer to you as a mom? So for instance, this is about like what we called our parents, or what we call our mom. So I called my mother mommy until the day she died. Anyway, so let's raise a hand. Kuae.
I call my mom for most of my life, and after my mom passed away, I don't know why, but she became mommy. I miss my mommy, and I will always miss my mommy. My kids call me a variety of different things, but the most interesting thing is my oldest calls me Mama Llama. Sometimes she calls me Llama. Sometimes she calls me Lady Llama, and sometimes I'm just Lady. So sometimes I get a text message from her, and she's 23, by the way. So I'll get a text message that says, hey, lady. And then sometimes it'll say, thanks, Lady Llama, or thanks, Llama. And so She has sent me some little llamas. I have a little llama collection on my desk at work. I'm not there. I'm working from home now, so I miss my llamas. I know that they're lonely without me. But yes, I'm Mama Llama.
That is so cute. So for me, Danae, it really depends on what I want or need, because my mom is mom, mommy, mama. I find that when we're in public, for some reason I started calling her Madre. And I guess I think it's because so she can definitely know my voice or know me, or maybe there's an inside joke that we're gonna share. And if I just say Madre, she finds me, we lock eyes, and yeah, but it depends. It's sometimes it's mommy, sometimes it's mom. Yeah.
Great, great. We see the GB Mocha said that mom or mommy, ma, or just plain old Brenda.
I was Ma. I always call my mother Ma. I don't know why. It was just short and sweet, Ma. But my daughter calls me Mommy all the time, and it sounds so sweet.
Yeah, I used to call my mother Mommy. Now I call her Mother. My kids used to call me Mommy. They call me Mom now. But what's kind of special is that my daughter's friends, she's 17, her friends, they all call me Mama Shalaun.
Yes, that's sweet.
Mm-hmm.
That's sweet. Yeah, I actually I call my mom Ma, which drives her crazy because if we're like in a store, I'm saying Ma, and she hates it. But I do it anyway. But most of the time it's mommy, or mommy or ma. But Shalaun, I too, my daughter's friends call me Mommy Sean.
Well, my daughter and her friends, when they want to be sassy, call me by my first name. I'm perfectly fine with it because I know it's their little way of playing with me. But when she's on the phone with her best friend, one of her best friends, Chloe will say, "Hey, Kuae, how you doing, Kuae?" And it's just a little inside joke that we all have. My daughter sometimes will say to me, "I see you, Kuae. I see what you're doing, Kuae." So it's just kind of a cute, she understands. She understands that I'm her mother and, I'm mom most of the time, but sometimes I hear Kuae every once in a while and it's really sweet.
Yeah, that's sweet. That's nice. All right, we're gonna move on to the next question. And this question is, describe your mother with 4 adjectives. Only 4. You may have 100, but only use 4. And I think this is actually a good one for everyone. So Danae, I'm going to start with you.
Wow. I would say warm, beautiful, dynamic, and really smart.
All right. Tiffany, your mother figure, auntie, for those of you, that have mother figures as well.
So with 2 moms.
Oh, there she goes.
A beautiful grandmother and my aunt, and all 4 of those women they've been mother figures in my life. They have all been loving. They have all been giving because they used to give us so much growing up. Dedicated. And I think all 4 of them have been, if I had to choose another word, it would be particular. Because each and every one of them had their different standards about what they wanted to teach my sister and I in our family. So my mother was particular about certain things. My stepmother was particular about certain things and her children. My grandmother, of course, and then my aunt. So each one had their different set of values and morals that they would instill in us. So I think they all had those 4 same adjectives.
Tenise.
So I really struggled with getting to just 4. So when I think about my mom, the very first thing that comes to mind is loyal. My mom is extremely loyal. She's beautiful and she's so loving with my sister and I and all of her nieces and nephews. And she's stronger than she knows. So growing up, my mom was a single parent. I had my grandmother, And I have 3 aunts, and you know, my sister. I have an older sister, so there's a lot of strong women in my life. But if I had to choose the 4 to define my mom, it would definitely be loyal, beautiful, loving, and strong. I love you, mommy.
Oh, she's watching, right?
She is. I think she's still on.
We might have to get some tissue tonight. Okay, Ivory.
Okay, I also had trouble narrowing it down. So what I came up with, it is dedicated, evangelical, strong, and protective, because everyone knew not to mess with Georgette's daughters.
I love it. Nicola.
So for my mom, for sure sassy. She's a sassy lady. My children call her Diva, Grand Diva. That's her name, not Grandma. So she's a diva of our family, 100%. She is protective and she's prayerful.
Brooke.
So I'm anal. I had to write down the answers to all the questions because I forget things. This is just how I clear my head. So I wrote down my answers. And listening to you all, I realized I didn't put giving or loving. I just don't think about those words when it comes to my mom, which is probably something to unpack with the therapist later on. But the words that I chose were driven, honest, passionate, and determined, which are all still good things, but she's just, you know, yeah, those are the first 4 that came to mind.
That's good. I'm just going to read before we move on. Marjorie lists her mother as resourceful, independent, intelligent, and fierce. Natasha says her mom is stern, strong, independent, yet vulnerable. However, the previous 3 overarches the vulnerability. All right. DeShonda says her mom is angelic. She's an encourager. She's strong, and she's an overcomer. That's a good word. Denisha says, I describe my mother as giving, dedicated, loyal, and a protector. Fantastic. Stacy from St. Louis. Hey, Stacy from St. Louis says, I would describe my mom as resourceful, creative, and kind. Onika says her mom is loving, compassionate, wise, and enduring. Love that. All right, we are coming to you, Cree.
Wait, and Tenise and LaShaun, we should pause for a moment to say that, Tenise, in case you didn't know, your mother says she loves you too, babe.
Yes, she did. Did you see the chat? So sweet. Cree, we're coming to you. How would you describe your mother?
I will describe my mother as powerful, giving, diva-ish, and very gifted.
Gifted. That's good. Kuae.
I too struggle because, you know, my mom was so loving, but this is what I came up with. My mom was outgoing. She was an extrovert, so outgoing, melodic. She was a singer. She was an opera singer. She sang in an a cappella group. She sang in church. She just was melodic. Even her speaking voice was melodic. She was dramatic. She was a drama teacher at the High School for Creative and Performing Arts. So she was dramatic in her own life and dramatic in her professional life. And I also picked silly. She was so much fun. I mean, she did so many silly things with us. And some of my fondest memories are of her saying silly things and doing silly things in the house.
That's good. Stephanie.
Well, my mom is actually on, which I'm super excited and surprised about. So her name is Kathy. My mom, I would describe her as, I grew up in a Christian household, so my mom was a prayer warrior. So that is one thing that cannot deny. I thank her for that. She was determined. Like you, Kuae, my mom's in the entertainment business, so she is a singer. So to see my mom, she's not short, but she's a little lady, and then to hear the voice that comes out of her, you're like, whoa. So she has a voice that people turn around and they listen to. And she is definitely a diva. She's a diva. My kids call her Grandma, so that's what she is. But she's also loving. I think that was 5, but sorry, I gave you one extra one, Mom.
That's all right. We'll take it. We'll take it. Cheli.
Okay, let's see. I struggle too. My mom is tough. That's the first thing. Like, she is tough. And she's hardworking for sure. But she's really financially shrewd. Like, she is like the money warrior. Like, she could make $1 stretch from here to like kingdom come. She is like a financial genius. Okay, so I guess that 4 words. Yeah, financial genius. Tough and hardworking. Yeah, definitely.
That's good. Did I miss anyone? Shalaun, you guys were bouncing around the screen there for a moment. Yes, Shalaun.
Okay. Yeah, it was hard for me as well. I have like a long list, but my mother is affectionate. She's loving. She's expressive, and I've been told that I'm just as expressive as she is with my facial expressions.
All day, every day, Shalaun.
And opinionated. She's opinionated.
But you didn't get that at all from her.
Okay.
So I'll go now. I would say my mom is elegant. Anyone that knows her, she is a very elegant lady. She is excellent in everything that she does. She really puts her best foot forward. If anything is attached to Miss Ann, that's what we call her. Her first name is Sharon. Her middle name is Ann. If anything is attached to Miss Ann, it must be excellent without apology. She is a prayer warrior. I too, Stephanie, grew up in a Christian home. I'm a PK. So she didn't play about her Jesus, and she still doesn't today. And then I would say that she's very talented. I think she has so many talents, and it's mind-boggling to me how talented she is at so many different things. So, Danae, I'll give you the next question, and you might want to go through some of the chat here too. We've got a lot of responses here, a lot of engagement here.
I know, there's so many, and so Kathy, who is Stephanie's mom, and she wanted to, is that not your mom? Yes, it is, right? Kathy. She wants you to know that she loves you also. Steffi is what she calls you. But this is so beautiful because she weighed in about her mom, and if I can just go up a little bit, she described her as loyal and, oh my goodness, it disappeared. I think dedicated was a word that I saw. Jean Adams, whose mom is 99 years old, is wise, faithful, and independent. And someone else referred to their mom as also as a protector. And isn't that what it is for our moms, whether or not there are biological moms or mommy figures? That is what these moms, that's what we do as moms. And that's what our moms did, right? They were protectors and overcomers. They are fierce, praying.
Lakeisha says here, Danae, she says, oh, this is so beautiful. I want to call my mom. You should.
You should.
You should.
So ladies, here's one for you. What is your fondest memory of your mom growing up? Right, you take a moment to think about it, because for me, there are so many, I couldn't even answer it right now if I tried. So who wants to go first?
All right.
Nicola, and then Ivory will come to you after Nicola.
For me, my mom, because she was a tough cookie, and I was definitely, kind of a go with the flow kind of person. And I remember once being at a football game in high school and, just laughing with some girls, and they were kind of, being a little rude or, not genuine. And after the game was over, I remember I got in the car with my mom, and she said to me, Nicola, she said, you need to be true to who you are. You need to, make sure that you're always honoring yourself and our family in every interaction that you have. And, don't stand for anything. Don't be the nice girl. It's not, rewarding to be just the nice girl all the time. Be the girl who stands up for herself and who stands for something. And I always take that with me now wherever I go, that, don't just go with the flow, really, do represent something. And that was one of the best gifts she ever gave me.
Ivory.
My fondest memory is when I was young, I was sick and I was in the hospital for 2 months and my mother never left my side. And when I had to have surgery, she refused to let them put anyone else's blood into me. So she did a blood transfusion with her own and they had to delay it and delay it because they needed so much. But she just refused to leave my side and always gave everything, including blood, to me to help me in that situation.
Stephanie.
I would say, being that what I appreciate about my mom, one of the memories I have is the fact that she allowed us to be cultured because she was on tour. I got to travel all around the world with her when I was older, and so I appreciated the fact that she always had lessons when I was with her. So I was able to go on tour with her and see different parts of the world that, you know, as an African-American single mom at the time, that was really unheard of, but she really strived for me to make sure that I got outside of my bubble. It wasn't about just, you know, being in Queens, New York, but, oh, it's about moving to Sweden. And, oh, by the way, not only are you going to live in Sweden, but you're going to speak the language, and then you're going to make sure that you're cultured in all different aspects. So I think that's why now I can be well-rounded, because of those exposures.
That's great.
Great.
This next question here is a really fun question. I'm sure you won't have to think hard. It'll be difficult to narrow it down if you're anything like me. Your favorite meal or dish made by or with your mom. So I am raised in Louisiana, but all of my family, raised in California, but all of my family is in Louisiana. So anything Cajun, that's my family. I would say probably my favorite meal by my mom is probably her gumbo. I have mastered her recipe. Some of the board can tell you that I have mastered that gumbo recipe.
Are you sending some this way to California?
Exactly. You did not bring some when you came to Texas.
See, now your secret's out. Now everybody knows. Oh, you're in for it now. Now you got to.
She's already tired of me
Everywhere
asking
you
her.
go for the rest of time, you'll have to make that gumbo.
Ice. Now you got to do everything now.
That gumbo is fierce. What
Now,
about
I had dinner already, but I'm hungry again.
What about you all? Favorite dish made by or with your mother?
I'll have to say it's my mother's pound cake. Her pound cake is so delicious. You put a piece in your mouth and it melts.
Woo!
Cree, when you come.
It's not too sweet. It's like just right. And when she makes it, she puts it in the blender. She puts just a little bit at a time, a little butter, then she'll add another little bit of butter, then she'll add 1 egg at a time, and she just keeps beating it until it's silky before she bakes it. When it comes out, it tastes like pound cake silk. It's delicious.
Pound cake silk.
This is not fair. This is unfair.
Silk.
What's your mom's number?
Look, she's looking at you guys here.
Hey, Mom.
And Cree, like, we are in Atlanta too often for not to have some of that pound cake. So let's work on it.
Mom, they're saying they want some of your pound cake.
Cree, you got to ship it, girl. Dry ice. Dry ice.
Cree, you
Next
already
regional
know.
leadership conference, Cree, now you know what we have to have.
Oh, yeah. She's here in Atlanta now, so she lives here.
Oh, nice.
So she can do pound cake.
You shouldn't have told me that.
For our leadership
And so my board sisters, just so you know, the next leadership, I'm scheduled for Atlanta.
Look,
And so am I.
I'll have her come and deliver it.
I'm coming. Me too. I'm coming to Atlanta. Yes, I'm scheduled for Atlanta.
Okay,
Get
we've got some ladies weighing in on the chat. So Marjorie says her mom's pan-seared salmon, sauteed garlic, spinach, and rice. She said that's how she got her husband. Marjorie, I'm wondering if you got him by your cooking that yourself, or did your mom cook that for you or for him and then like seal the deal for you? I'm just curious. Eleanor says her mom makes Barbadian coconut bread. Deshanda, cream peas and cornbread.
I see smothered chicken, rice, and gravy from Cheryl Merriman. Oh, goodness. Okay, we're.
I have to give a shout out to my stepmom.
I am hot over here.
The best sweet potato pie.
Yes. So
ever.
My sister, I text her on chat. I said, "So what's your favorite food that mom makes since mom's on?" And she says sweet potato pie, and that's one of my favorites. It's a toss-up between my mom's smothered pork chops, her pork roast, and the sweet potato pie. So my birthday is in June, and you know she always tries to get us June birthdays, what we want for our birthdays. And I don't want a cake. I want a sweet potato pie. And she always gives me this excuse that that's a fall dessert. It's hot in the summer. She doesn't want to turn on the oven, but she comes through with the sweet potato pie in June because that is my favorite, right? Shouldn't you have your favorite meal for your birthday?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Called me a brat in the chat.
Miss Robin, my birthday is June 2nd. I can send you my address.
We were all trying to get mom's meals mailed to us. Anybody else? Favorite dish, favorite meal?
I would say I have kind of a different experience. My mom didn't really cook a lot. So I actually learned how to cook from my now mother-in-law when I was dating my husband. And my mom knows how to cook, but she's like, I want to eat out. She cooks like Christmas and, you know, maybe a couple other days throughout the year, but she's not a cook like that. So my now mother-in-law and grandmother-in-law, they both took me aside and said, look, we know you love our son/grandson. He's lazy. He's not going to cook for himself, and we don't want him to starve. So we're going to teach you how to cook so that he won't starve. So they taught me how to make barbecue chicken and chili. That's what we started with. That started my journey. So shout out to all the mother-in-laws and the grandmother-in-laws that take time to teach their future daughter-in-laws how to cook to keep their sons and grandsons happy.
That's great.
Right.
That's great. Anybody else?
I had my, oh.
Ivory, we'll do Cheli and then Shalaun.
Okay, I had, my mother's fried chicken was the best fried chicken, better than Popeye's. Like, she used to cook for the church, and that was the dish that she had to make for the whole church for every function that we had. And out of all of my sisters, I'm the one that got the recipe. So when we get together, that's the dish I have to make, is the fried chicken. So, but she cooked everything great, but that was the one for me.
Cheli?
Well, my mom was not a huge cook either. So, but during the holidays, she could cook some stuffing. Let me tell you something. And her stuffing is the recipe that I use now, and it is so good. I have to cook 2 batches because it's gone like that. So her stuffing, definitely.
Shalaun.
And for my mom, she loves to cook. And growing up, she actually used to shoo me out of the kitchen. She liked her space. She liked to do it on her own. And to a certain point, she kind of regretted that. I had to kind of learn how to cook on my own when I got married. But my favorite dishes from her biscuits and her fried chicken and fried catfish.
That sounds delicious. I see Natasha said Jamaican rum cake. Her mom's rum cake is to die for. Someone else says her daughter, Robin says, whose mom is Robin?
Denise.
Hi. Denise, your mother says, my daughter can cook circles around me.
Yeah, she said daughter, so me and my sister, yes. My sister can cook circles around me, and then I think I fall into a second or third after my sister.
That's a huge compliment when your mom can say that to you.
Yes.
My mom can't.
My mom wouldn't have said it.
My mom wouldn't have said it either.
So I don't remember who it was. Maybe it was Brooke. My mom didn't grow up cooking a lot. So my sister, she's 4.5 years older than me. She used to cook with my grandmother all the time, and she cooked for us. So when my sister went off to college, my mom was like, all right, you need to learn how to budget. You need to learn how to meal prep and go and do what you do. And that's how I learned to cook.
That's good. Zandra says pecan pie. S. John Pierre says sweet potato casserole. Someone says, please just send me all of your favorite mocha recipes on a list.
Ooh, mocha cookbook.
Mocha cookbook.
That's what it sounds
Sounds
good.
like, yeah, we need a cookbook for sure.
Yes, we do.
We need a
Let's do
cookbook
it.
after this.
Rice and peas. Rice and peas, I'm assuming that's somebody from Jamaica with a Jamaican background. Steak with tomato, onion gravy, and potato salad.
Potato salad, oh my God.
Idea, Mocha meals exclusive for Mocha moms. All right, Kamonia. All right, we got ideas popping in the chat.
Ideas.
All right, Danae, go ahead and take it away.
I will, but Brooke, I have to think. When I think about mother-in-laws, so my husband's stepmom, I am not learning any of her recipes, or his biological mom, who also died years ago. But they are German, and she makes something called Lauchsuppe. That like every time we show up, she knows that's what she has to make. It is a leek soup, which I know sounds weird, and it's incredible. It's like I want to marry her when I go. Let me tell you what you can do with that Christian boy I married. Let me come home and marry you. So the next question is, what was your mom's, or is your mom's, best advice? My mom had a lot of advice to give. She always had something to say, but the thing she said that I recall saying all the time is, put on some red lipstick.
Wow. Ooh.
I know. She also told me, when you're traveling, do not go too casual. Always dress like you might meet somebody. And lo and behold, I met my husband in the airport, coming through customs.
Oh.
Listen to your mama.
Mama knows what you're talking about.
My mother said the same thing. She said, when you go out, always be ready, because you don't know who you're going to meet. Stay ready.
Yes.
These are facts.
On that same vein, I don't know whether it was my mother or my grandmother that said, if you get hit by a car, make sure your underwear's not holding.
I was just going to say that. I was literally going to say that.
That's exactly the one I had too.
My grandmother said that.
My grandmother.
Also, make sure your underwear are clean.
Yes, for sure.
No, my grandmother was like, if you got hit by a car and they had to open it up. No, my grandmother used to say, if you got hit, if anything happened to you, you better make sure you do not have holes in your underwear, because you don't want them seeing all of that. These are facts.
My grandmother also used to tell me to carry a plastic bag with me in case, I needed to shove a little food from wherever I was into the bag to bring it home. She always had a bag in her pocketbook, always. And always have a rain bonnet, a bag and a rain bonnet.
Oh my gosh.
Well, my mother, shrewd financial wizard that she is, she always said, pay yourself first. Like, that's what I can hear her say. Pay yourself first. That was her advice. I can hear her say it now.
My mom used to say, never call a man. Ooh. Never call a man, never chase a man.
Yes.
Ooh. Not even Denzel.
Not enough, he will swim across the ocean for you.
Yes, he will.
Wow.
Oh, and what about this one? Keep your legs closed.
Yes, mommy.
Okay. Well, we're mothers.
I know that did well. That was the single advice. That was premarital advice. Keep your legs closed.
Similar to your mom, always remain a lady. Always, at all costs, always remain a lady.
Yeah.
Then she also said, never chase a man.
Yep.
And if for some reason he leaves, never run after him. He will always come back to you. I promise you. Anybody that has ever been in a relationship, and there have been very few, they have always come back. Just like my mom said. They always try to come back. They may not come back, but they always try to.
That's right. Correct that, LaShaun.
Always.
So I have to say, my mom has echoed many of the sentiments as your mothers and grandmothers, but there's a close family friend of mine who has given some motherly advice, although she's not a mother of her own. So one of them is, baby, don't get your honey where you get your money. And then her second one was to always, or to never overspend your purse. So if you're going out on a date or you're with friends and you're ordering whatever you want to order, make sure you can cover your bill and not expect that date, you know, boyfriend, whatever, to have you. Make sure you you can handle yourself.
I like that.
Follow your head, not your heart. That's a good one. Somebody
right. There's a Teresa Wright said the advice she got was, do not let a man sell you a dream. Denisha said her mom told her to always be careful of who you tell your secrets to. Stacy said, my mom said to have your own money. Absolutely. Yep, it's a lot about money. Here's one I can relate to, because Kathy Hazzard, Stephanie's mom would say, her mom would say, wealth is silent. My mother used to say, you can tell who the wealthy people are because they don't look like it. And she said, you can tell who the irresponsible ones are because they're wearing all the stuff.
Yep.
My mom said this.
My mom said something similar to that. Yeah.
True.
My mom also said, which she's not sharing, which is I'm very surprised at, but my mom would always say, if you don't know any letters in the alphabet, know these two, know this letter. Make sure whatever man you get involved with has the 2 J's. And I'll be like, what's the 2 J's? She was like, make sure he got Jesus and a job.
I have something similar. It's my mom and my grandmother used to tell me that it's okay to have nice things as long as you know how, as long as you can buy them for yourself. They made me feel like it's okay to treat yourself to nice things, that it's okay to have that for yourself and to not put yourself down if you were to say you want to buy something nice and special for yourself, because we all are deserving of those things. And it's okay to have those things. And there will be some people who might be jealous, because my grandmother used to say that word does exist. And another funny story is, I remember when I got married, my mom, one of the gifts she gave me was a pair of workout clothes. And she didn't work out. She just gave me these clothes. She said, these are the clothes you wear when you clean the house. Yeah. And I said, okay. She says, because you always want to at least look presentable and look cute for your husband when you're cleaning up around the house.
My mother-in-law says, still to this day, don't start anything in your marriage that you can't continue.
Wise.
That's a good one.
My mom believed in the power of positive thinking. So she always, go ahead, LaShaun, I'm sorry.
No, you go. I want to hear what you have to say.
Yeah, my mom always believed in the power of positive thinking. So she used to always say, make sure you're a person who sees the glass half full and not half empty. And then the other thing I hear in my head quite a bit, and it's a little bit of cursing, but she always used to say, don't do a half-assed job. And I hear myself wanting to say that to my kids sometimes, because I hear my mother in my head say, don't do a half-assed job.
Yeah. Robin says, her mother says, leave something to their imagination.
That's right.
Let's see. Lakeisha. Oh gosh, my mom used to say this. Don't let your left hand know what your right hand is doing. That was a big one for my mom. Let's see. Do you see any more, Danae? I'm trying to catch them all.
Yes, Robin says you don't have to spend a fortune to look like one, and treat people like you want to be treated. That was one that my mom showed me and didn't say as much, but showed it all the time. Treat people the way you want to be treated.
That's good. Don't you wish that you could just capture all of your mother's lessons and put them like in a book or something so that you can pass them on, you know, to your children and your legacy, and, you know, all of the generations that come after you can get something? I actually did something similar with my grandmother. I took like all of her sayings, all her little quirky things. I have to get some up-to-date ones though, because she's got some new ones. She just sent some on the phone the other day. She's 90, y'all, and she's still saying, you know, still dropping wisdom bombs, as I say.
Although I don't know if I would ask my kids to carry a plastic bag and a rain bonnet. I mean, there's some things that need to be updated for today, you know?
Always said focus on education because that's one thing they can't take away from you.
There are some people that
Which
still
is
do it.
probably why I became a teacher. But she also said beauty without brains means nothing. So
Right. That's good.
My mom, she instilled a deep sense of being independent in my sister and I. And there were three things that she said for us to understand growing up: that we were Black, that we were female, and we came from a single parent home. But to never let any of those things be, an anchor or keep us from doing anything that we wanted to do. And to this day, I can still hear her words, just as they were clear, like she was just saying them in front of me.
This is good. This is good.
Yeah.
Let's see. Did we catch anything else in the chat, Danae?
There's so much.
I know. I love the fact that you all are engaging. Please continue.
Yes.
To do so. One other thing I'll say, and then we're going to move on to the next question. My mother used to always say, never get to the point where you feel like you need a man. Stand on your own 2 feet. Always have a way. Always have a way, and never feel like you need to have a man to take care of you. All right, the next question is your parenting style similar or different than your mom's? If so, how? And let's keep our answers concise because we've got some follow-up questions after that. All right, so anybody want to jump in and answer, is your parenting style similar or different than your mom's? If so, how?
Cree.
Mine is different, probably more different than the same. My father was shot and killed when I was 12. So she was a single parent, and she worked. She was a minister of music at a church, and she had a 9-to-5 job. So she wasn't present, and then we didn't have a father around. And so for me, I'm learning how to parent with my husband, which is a balance. I'm used to my mother telling us everything and raising us and not having to consider what a man has to say. Me, on the other end, I'm learning that I've been married 13 years and I'm still learning that. I like to put in my 2 cents when I'm parenting, but then Patrick will come in and give his opinion, and sometimes it's different than mine. Then I have to remember, okay, hold on, Cree, okay, it's okay. He's a parent too. I know you grew up in a household where it's only, one parent, but you have to learn how to balance the masculine and the femininity. That's the true balance. And so because I have the balance in my home, I have to balance within my own mind and spirit, if y'all know what I mean. So I would say it's different, but I still have some of the qualities of my mother when parenting. It just looks different because of the household structure.
That's good. Thank you, Cree. Anyone else want to jump in?
I have the same parenting style as my mother. I have to say, I'm sorry. Sometimes I'll look in the mirror and say, oh my Lord, I'm just like my mother. I will start to yell at my kids. I could be short-tempered and not patient with them. I actually have something that reminds me of her is sometimes when we get really upset, or if you our veins in our hands sometimes comes out. But I feel so bad sometimes, but it comes out. I try to be different, and I do have other styles that I teach my children because I know how I was raised, but it does sneak out sometimes, and it just happens. It's the same. And if it happened and it worked for me, I'm gonna make sure it happened for my kids and it worked for them. So something they did was right.
There's that saying that I opened my mouth and my mother fell out.
Yeah.
That happens to me all the time. Anybody else? Similar or different? Stephanie, go ahead.
So taking a little bit, my mother and I have very different parenting styles, and she's on here. So I'm gonna be very honest because she's texting me saying I can. So my mom, as I told you earlier, my mom was in the entertainment business, so my mom was not a present mom. Like, although she afforded me the opportunity to travel with her every now and then, there was aspects of her just presence, she just wasn't there. So when it came to, like, you know, I was an athlete and I was, you know, pretty involved in school activities, my mom just couldn't make those types of activities. My mom was very career driven, as opposed to, she wasn't a nurturing type of mom growing up. And so there was a lot of, I'm very proud of what you were achieved, but never like really there to kind of be there for the infrastructure of how to get there. Whereas with my children, I'm very involved. I am very, like, I'm there, I'm at games, I'm going to the PTA, I'm making sure that my Black boys see that I am a present force, so that, you know, if something happens at school, they know my name. People like my mom, but my mom just wasn't around enough for her to be able to kind of instill some of those things. So I think in that aspect, we just do things differently, and the times are different, right? That was her career. That was something that she thrived for. And that's why I stayed away from the entertainment aspect of it, because I just did not want to sacrifice my children's mental health aspect in order to, you know, be there for them. So she's a great grandmother, you know, which I think some of our parents do something different. She really shows up for my kids. And we've had to establish some boundaries, because I was like, wait, you got to make sure, like, don't tell my kids you're going to be there and then you're not, because that's what I do. You know what I mean? But I think that I've also learned, you know, a lot, because there's, like you said, LaShaun, there's certain aspects of what my mom has said that has come out of my mouth. And I'm like, no, wait, take that back. You know, so, or I'm glad that she taught me that, you know what I mean? So
can I just say bravo to you and your mother, that even though it's not a perfect picture, that she allowed you the freedom to speak your truth. Mm-hmm. Bravo to your mama. Bravo to your mama. And bravo to you for you know, feeling that you could share it here. Our mothers are not perfect women, right? We all know that. And when we, you know, when we get older and we learn and we experience things, you know, we may have made different choices, you know, back then. And we too, as moms today.
Yeah.
How we parented our kids when they were little people may not be how we're parenting our kids now that they're teenagers or in middle school or in college or adults, you know. So bravo to you and your mom. Bravo. Anybody else? Similar or different parenting styles?
Both.
Oh, Cheli, share.
Because my mother and I both stress education. Like, education is like hardcore. We go hardcore on education. We don't play with it. You know, we expect the children to do well, to do their best, to make the grades that we think they're capable of. And that's what happened with me, certainly. But my mom was very focused on me being, you know, a doctor, you know, or something like that, you know. It was very directed toward one path, and I was not really allowed to stray or anything. I had to get to be an adult before I got to choose really what I wanted to do. My children, I'm like, listen, you do you figure it out, you know, just do something, figure out something, do what you love, do what you're good at. And so I know I was not really afforded that opportunity. I had to follow the path that was given to me. And that was it. The other thing is that I think I'm a lot more protective of my children than my mom, because I'm here in Bowie, Maryland, the suburbs, I guess. And I grew up in New York City, okay? So I was 8 years old and I was taking the, you know, the city bus by myself, but I was taking the train and I was going from the Bronx to Queens to Brooklyn to Manhattan, and I could do whatever I wanted to do, whenever I wanted to do it. And I went to discos and party with my friends. Stuff I would never let my kids do, ever. I can't understand that. I'm like, what's up?
Anybody else? Similar?
Yeah. So for me, I would say that I think that my mom and I have similar sentiments, but maybe our delivery is different. And I think it has to do with circumstances. Her baby is, I'm going to be 37 this year. So that's, I mean, a whole generation has passed. Also, my mom was a single parent, so Cree brought this up. She didn't have, and I can remember, I think about being in middle school where it connected to me. She said, I don't have anybody to go and refer to or ask advice to. I'm doing this all on my own, and it's tough. I mean, my teenage years. So I have my husband, and even though, we're still learning as we go, there's times where I just walk out the room like, you do it. She's your daughter. You figure it out. And she didn't have that. And then also when I think about being involved, I played sports and I was active in things, and I can definitely remember my mom taking me different places. But I also remember being at basketball games and whatnot, and she wasn't there. She had to work. That was just the reality. She didn't have a laptop with Wi-Fi like we do in 2020, where she's sitting, at the kitchen table working. That wasn't the reality. So I think because of that, my sentiments might be the same, but I can spend more time with my kiddos. We can go on play dates or whatnot. I can sit and play blocks during lunchtime with my almost 1-year-old. I think that my style comes from because I have a little bit more FaceTime with them, and I'm more hands-on that she just didn't have the opportunity to do. So I think that in the end, we wish the same for our children. Is what she wished for me is how I wish for my children. But the way in which we can deliver that is different, and the times have changed. Hope that makes sense.
I have a very, very similar experience because my mother worked a lot and she found time to be involved, but I'm also involved in my daughter's life in the PTA and going to the school and doing things like that. But I do remember, having basketball games and my mother was hardly ever there. And I know that when my daughter starts to play sports, I will definitely be there. But at the same time, I chose not to work right now. Like, I work from home and my mother never had that opportunity. So, it's very, very different as far as the times. People ask me, oh, you went to college and grad school. Why are you stay home mom? First couple of years, I felt that was important for my children. So that's what I did. And, I can go to work and I could do pretty much anything I want to make money and work from home, but I choose not to spend that much time out of the house right now. Eventually, I'll go back to work. That's no big deal, and work full time. But I'm fine with working part time from home and being there for my children. And I remember the first time I picked my daughter up from school because she was sick. I was sick at school, and I was just like, I never remember my mother ever being able to pick me up from school when I was sick.
Danae, parenting, similar, different?
Yeah, it's similar. I think to the outside eye, it may not look as such because my mother also was she worked outside the home. She was very career driven, ambitious, and I don't know how she did it, but she was also very engaged in my life. But I think the most significant parenting similarity is that again, it's those things that aren't seen. My mother parented a lot through conversation, and just sometimes very candid conversation as I grew older. Intimate expressions and discussions about who she was as a woman, as a wife at times, and what that meant to her, where she thought she made some mistakes, what she what she hoped that I would do to not repeat her mistakes. There was a lot of that, those kinds of parenting things, and it wasn't structured, right? It might show up while we were watching, I don't know, Love Story or Sybil or Amityville Horror 2, who knows, right? But we spent pretty constructive time together, just talking, and I find that I do that a lot with my children, just really honest, frank conversations. So that's in that way is very, very similar.
That's good. Nicola.
Yeah, I would say similarly to Danae, I try to be like my mom in that way. I try to really be honest with my children. I try, especially as my son's getting older, to not not ever answer a question. If he asks me a question, even if it's what might be considered above his level, he's almost 10, I will answer that question as honestly as I possibly can. I think that's the best way to parent. It's the best way to get to know who your children are and what their goals are. I feel like my mom did that for me, so I'm really trying hard to do the same for my children.
That's good. I would say both, like Cheli. Similar in that my mom is huge on respect, even today. There are certain things I would never say around my mother. There are certain things I would never do around. There are certain things I would never even think of doing because of that respect that I have for my mother. I would say, though, the downside of that, though, is that there were certain things that I felt like, gosh, I can't talk to mom about that, because there was just that level of honor and respect that you just didn't go past. In that way, I am incredibly different as a parent. When I tell you, my girls and I talk about everything. And when I say everything, I mean everything from A to Z. There's nothing that they could possibly come to me about, and they're teenagers now. So y'all know what some of those conversations are about now, right? But I love the fact that they feel the freedom to ask. They're not afraid to broach me with a question that may be taboo, maybe something that they heard from another friend, and they want to know an honest answer. They come to me and ask me those things. I could never, not even today, open my mouth to ask my kids. So ask my mother some of the questions that my kids ask me, but I'm grateful that they feel the freedom to do so. And I think they are loving, honorable, respectful young ladies because I have been able to pour into them unapologetically, without covering things up, without making things taboo. I think they're different people than I was growing up initially, because I think they have the freedom to ask me anything. And when I say anything, I mean anything.
Do you think it's important to parent in that way in this day and age, or to at least have a balance of the two? I'm asking because I want to know. My kids
can I share my opinion?
They're going into being tweens.
But I agree with you, LaShaun. So I want to hear what your thoughts are.
You want to hear what my thoughts are to Kuae's question?
Yeah.
I think that it is different now. I would say that, I mean, the world and I mean, just everything that we're dealing with now, things that things that I dealt with as a teenager, they're a little bit different than what my children deal with. I think there has to be a balance, because my kids have the utmost respect and regard for me, but they also feel open to ask me questions. I think there has to be a balance now. Kuae, what do you think?
I absolutely think there needs to be a balance, but I'm a huge proponent of being open and honest with our children, because when you are open and honest, they feel as though they can come to you. And just a little tiny story, when I was in high school, my friends whose parents were very, very strict, who locked up the liquor cabinet, who prohibited them from doing certain things, and who said very absolute things to them, those were my friends who didn't feel comfortable going to their parents to talk to them. If they had an issue, they didn't want to share it with their parent. They shared it with me, but they didn't want to share it with their parent because they didn't think that their parent was going to understand. So I've never wanted to set up a situation where if there was an issue, my child didn't feel comfortable coming to me or talking to me. So I've always kept the door wide open. If you have any questions, if you have any issues, I'm here to talk with you about it. And I think that's really important, because kind of going back to that story, my friends whose parents locked up that liquor cabinet were my friends who had drinking problems. Mm-hmm. They were my friends who left the house and found it elsewhere because it was the forbidden fruit. It was forbidden so much that they wanted to try it and they wanted to find it elsewhere. And those were my friends who had the hugest drinking problems because their parents were that firm. And so I have never, and it's very similar to my own mom's parenting style, I have never wanted that for my own children. There is a balance. I mean, I want them to understand repercussions. I want them to understand ramifications and what could happen and all that. But I want them always to be able to come to me. That to me is more important than anything. And now that I have, my oldest is 23, she comes to me for anything. And I appreciate that, because I think now that she's 23, now that she's getting older, we're mom and daughter. We're also very much in the friend category. I consider her one of my nearest and dearest friends, and she considers me one of her closest friends. And I cherish that, and I hope that's the same with my other two children.
That's good. Tenise, go ahead, and then we're going to move on to the next one.
Yeah, so I just wanted to say, Stacy online hit it on the head with the structure and love at the same time. So while as an adult, my mom and I talk about any and everything under the sun, but I don't know why, I can't pinpoint why I felt like I couldn't broach conversations as a teenager. But I remember one time I snuck out, I was with my best friend and we went to a club. I don't know what club. We were underage. We couldn't drive. We didn't have cars. We were too young to get there. And her sister was supposed to pick us up, and her sister fell asleep. And so, I'm not where I'm supposed to be. I'm underage. And we had to walk like a block to a Safeway for a payphone. But I called my mom because I was in trouble and I knew that she was going to come and get me. I didn't get in trouble. I didn't get yelled at. It was probably like 2:00 in the morning. So she pulls up and she was like, "Are you okay?" And, yeah, I'm okay. She drops off my friend. We get home, we go to sleep. And I might have been grounded, but there's so much that could have happened. But at the end of the day, I knew that if I'm in trouble, I could always go to her.
Right.
And that's the structure and the love. I had the structure. I knew I was wrong, but she came through with the love. And that's just the way. You got to have the balance.
That's a good mama.
Yes.
Can I just interject on one thing? I just want to, and this is from one of our Mochas in our chapter, Karen. She has 2 twin girls that are in their 20s, and she, I've been privileged to kind of see their relationship, because I had a different mother-daughter relationship growing up. So when I see healthy relationships with mother-daughters, I'm like intrigued. But one of the things that Karen has always done with her daughters has been open and very honest, to the point that her daughters and her daughters' friends come to her about certain things, which I think is just so commendable. And there's a balance with, I'm definitely the mom in her daughter's life. Like, they respect her as mom, but they also know, like, because you're my mom, like, I should be able to talk to you about any and everything. And so now that I'm raising a 9-year-old daughter, like, we talk about everything, because I want her to have the foundation that mom and home is always safe. There's nothing that this world is going to bring you that your mom, whatever the names you want to call me, are going to be able to keep you from. And so Karen, who's on the chat, I really learned that from her, especially having grown daughters that really reverence her as a mom, but very quickly are like, yo, let me tell you what happened with me and this boy, and let me tell you, you know what I mean? Like, they're able to have hard conversations. And what I love is her response, because it is approachable, right? I want you to be able to approach it, because I think sometimes as parents, our number one thing is, why are you out there doing this? Like, why are you, and that kind of pushes our kids away. But in the relationship that they have with one another, the correction can happen because of the relationship, but also the dialogue is still able to remain open. And so that's what I think is very healthy.
That's good. That's excellent. We're going to move on. We actually have quite a few more questions, and we want to be able to get through most of them if we can. We got a late start, so we'll hope that our audience will give us a little grace on getting through the rest of these questions. So Danae, I'll kick the next one to you.
For me, this follows very naturally. The question is, the funniest moment with your mom. And that makes me giggle, because as we were talking about, my mom was really clear and said often when I was little, I am not here to be your friend. And the open dialogue that she allowed made me feel safe. to come to her when I needed to. And when she traveled, as long as I wasn't in school, when she traveled for work, I could travel with her. And that continued into adulthood. So I would go to conferences with her growing up. And then as I got older and started a career, she would meet me at my conferences. And so we were at one of these conferences. I don't know if it was hers or if it was mine. And I'm a grown woman by this point, still calling her mommy. And there we were getting breakfast. And there was she was divorced at this point. And there was a very handsome gentleman, her age appropriate, not my age appropriate, also there at the conference getting breakfast. And my mom would sometimes be notorious for not responding when I'm, as a grown woman, well into my 20s, saying, mommy, 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 mommy. And so there I was at breakfast trying to get her attention, saying, mommy, 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 mommy. And this very handsome man is looking around, and then he looked at her and she looked at him. She said, isn't it strange? I don't know why she keeps saying that. Like she denied me in front of Mr. Handsome. And to this day, that is like my funniest moment with her. Like that is so her. She could not let him know that she had a daughter in her 20s. And she would hit me right now if she were alive to hear me tell that story.
Mama was trying to get her groove back.
Anybody else? Funny moments? Gotta be something funny.
Because Kathy and Robin are on the line, so I know there is.
I would just say for me, like now being an adult, you know, when you're a kid and you can't laugh about things with your mom, or you'll do something bad and then, you know, your mom will like scold you and you'll be on punishment. And now to review those things with my mom as an adult, like things I did as a kid, is like once I changed all the grades on my report card, I like, you know, went and was able to like use the printer and change them, and it looked like a disaster. Like there's no way it looked authentic or real anyway. I just remember like her being so angry that she couldn't even say anything to me. And we talked about it actually a few weeks ago, and she was like, I had to have you leave the room because I was laughing so hard. She's like, it was so hilarious that you thought I was going to believe that was your real report card. She's like, you really thought that? Like, she's like, I was more concerned that you thought that I was going to think it was real. She's like, that was my concern. So I think as an adult now, like having a friendship with my mom, just being able to kind of laugh about, you know, things you did that were terrible.
That's funny. I have one. I was in grade school. I don't remember exactly what age, probably 5th, 6th grade. And we were having a social gathering with close friends of the family. And we went to a park. This was in Lawrence, Kansas. Arrowhead Park, I think was the name of it. I remember the park. It's funny, it's hilarious, but it was a traumatic experience for me. My mom went through a period of time where she wore wigs. I don't know if that was just the style at that time. I don't know what. But she decided to go down a steep slide, and her wig went whoop. And I was like, oh my God. I was so embarrassed. I was so embarrassed. But it was hilarious, and I'll never forget it. Oh my gosh.
That's funny, I'm sorry.
Kuae, were you going to say something?
No, I was just laughing.
Oh, laughing at Shalaun.
My mom went through the wig phase too. She also went through the Mary Kay phase.
Oh,
Did
yeah.
any of your mothers wear Mary Kay?
Oh yeah.
Mostly the skin products. I mean, still some of the makeup, but mostly the skin products. And I remember in the bathroom, she got the whole set of Mary Kay. And
you don't remember Skin So Soft?
I remember.
Oh yes.
That's Avon, and I'm looking for it now that it's bug season.
They still have that, Cree.
I'm trying to find some because she put it in our bath and we use it to keep away mosquitoes.
Yeah.
It's time. It's time for the Skin So Soft.
Remedies are like no other, right? I would say funny moment, whenever I would get in trouble for something as a kid, and I knew that my mom I was going to get a spanking. Somebody just asked about discipline here just a moment ago. What's your take on discipline, or your mother's mode of discipline versus yours? If I knew I was going to get a spanking, I would run into my room and start screaming, she's gonna kill me. So there were many days where my mom was laughing so hard that she didn't come in the room because I was screaming, calling out to Jesus that he was gonna kill me. And she still laughs about that today. I shouldn't say that too loud. My kids might try it, but. In terms of discipline, let's answer this question here. Someone just asked it. Let's see, that would be.
Kim asked.
Okay, Kim asked. Discipline. What's your discipline like versus your mother? I have conversations with my kids. They have gotten spankings when they were younger. Absolutely. We are that family. And you know what's funny is I said that I would never spank my children when I was pregnant until I had them. So they have gotten spankings, but I would say those, I mean, there's been so many years since then. You know, we have conversations, we have very frank conversations. There are privileges taken away. There are, you know, all kinds of different things that we use for discipline now that we didn't use when they were younger. And spankings don't really work anyway.
Yeah, I would, mine is very similar to my parents. None of us were ever spanked, and none of my children have ever been spanked. Was never my parents' philosophy, and we had such respect for our parents. So that was never part of it, and it's never been a part of our family. I find the withholding of certain things much more effective. Taking away of the cell phone, super effective. You know, not able to watch TV, super effective. So we've never, I actually don't even remember ever being in a position where I even thought about spanking my kids, because it was always, you know, some other, I wasn't raised that way. I don't even know what it's like, but I have friends who were otherwise, so.
Well, I know what it was like.
We run the gamut.
I know what it was like, Kuae.
I have a similar perspective and discipline with spanking. So long story short is my parents separated and my father raised me, and we were back and forth between my mom and my dad. And I remember our spankings consisted of belts, and my father used a construction belt. He used to take the tool part off the belt to give us spankings. And I remember how rough that was. It was like a lot of tough love, because he would spank us and then come in a room and cry and say how he was sorry and how much he loves us because he had to spank us. But I feel like LaShaun, you mentioned, it just depends on how old the kids are. Like the kids are younger and you pop them, and then they get a little bit older and then you spank them. So I do spank my children if they have an issue. However, I don't use a belt because I remember what that felt like. So I remember spanking my oldest daughter just with my hands on her bottom. I don't think I could ever take up a belt to hit my kid, because I used to get hit with a belt, and it petrified me just to know that he would snap that belt, that he's coming. So yes, but now that my daughter is 13, no more spankings. However, conversations happen more, we talk more. I did take away her phone once so far, and that was, she thought she was going to lose her mind. She thought life was over. She thought, I mean, she came knocking on my door, when can I have my phone back? And I'm like, how dare you come and ask me, the person who pays your bill? When I give you the phone back is when I choose to give it back to you. So we're starting that now. But then I have a 1-year-old, and now I'm going from that to popping his head. Don't touch that. Don't stop touching that. And then he looks at me and laughs because he thinks I'm playing. So I feel like everyone's perception is different. It just depends on what happens and what you're in the mood to do.
Definitely.
I got whipped by a belt. We had a different, well, my father had a belt. And so when I did something wrong, we had to negotiate how many lashes I would get. So he would say, this deserved 20 lashes. And I would say, well, no, 10. And then he said, no, 15. And so we would meet somewhere, and then I would have to go into my room and think about how many lashes I was going to get. And then I'd have to come back and get those lashes with that special belt. And so that is how I mean, and I got whipping for, and we called it whippings, okay? It was a whipping. And until I was very old, I feel like I was until I got bigger than they were, okay? That's when that stopped. Because when I got big enough to go, oh no, you're not gonna, then that stopped. But so my children, though, have never gotten spanked. Never. Not, and I got 3. And the oldest one is 26. Never did it. Just
I think it plays a big role in where our parents or grandparents came from, because we're from Alabama, and there were belts, there were switches, and sometimes not just one switch, but you would have to get 2. And you would have to twine them together and then give it to them. I didn't get a lot of whippings because I always did what my mother said.
Right.
But I just remember cousins, you know, it was either a belt or a switch. And I think, Tiffany, when you were talking about your dad, I think maybe they just didn't know any better. And if they did, you know, have a thought, man, this doesn't feel good to me. It doesn't feel right. So that's why he would come and cry with you. But in the heat of the moment, they didn't know what else to do. What am I supposed to do? You just did wrong. I gotta whip you, you know? And so when I think about that, I think about, you know, my dad and my uncles and things whipping. I just think, you know, I don't find blame. I just think they really didn't know any better because it was how they were raised, you know? And then it helps with the forgiveness part for me. Yeah. You know, when you know better, you do better. But, you know, they were whooped, so that's all they knew. So, but there has to be a balance. How do we teach the next generation? You know, maybe let's try something different. You know, it's the further we can come away from the trauma of slavery, you know, and give our children an elevation, you know, in mindset.
That's good.
And sometimes it just feels like kids need to be popped in the mouth. I'm just saying, y'all have been in the grocery store and you have seen that kid. And we've all said, somebody didn't get enough spankings.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, go ahead and jump in. We haven't heard from you in a while, and then we're gonna go rapid fire through the rest of these questions because we're winding up on time.
Okay, so what I was gonna say is I like Tiffany, I got hit with the bell. My mom actually never hit us. It was just my father. And I think going back to what LaShaun says, well, I talk to my kids a lot more than I pop them. And growing up, there was no conversation. There was no discussion about, okay, you're getting whipped because of this. This is why I'm doing this. This is why you shouldn't do X, Y, and Z. And I'm very big on explaining, especially to my now 11-year-old son, about how everything you say and do has a consequence. You need to think before you speak. You need to think before you act. If you do something wrong, this is the result of what, you know, happens. And I also think that discipline with your children, it depends on what they did, and it also depends on your particular child, what they respond to. Some kids get hit all the time and continue to do what they need to do. But if you take away their Xbox and take away their phone, and now they're behaving. So I think it just depends on your child. So.
That's good. Tenise, you had your hand raised. I'll let you have the last word on this one.
I actually was just typing it in the chat. Just to lighten the topic a little bit, let's not forget the look, because when your mom gave you the look, you knew what was up.
And a lot of times that's all it took.
It's all it took.
Just that look.
And one other thing, I just typed it into the chat also, but let's keep in mind that for, you know, the generations before us, like parents had to be harsh. Because like if they weren't harsh at home, it could mean all kinds it could mean your life out in public. So when Cree says they were doing what they had to do, I mean, that's real. Like they had to be very clear about what the rules were and how you should behave at home, because you could get lynched, right? Or anything could happen out in public.
I would say on a different level though, because my mom nice and politely put my business out there on the top. I was disciplined. However, I was that child that didn't need a lot of discipline. I was really like my grandmother. For a large majority of my life, my grandmother raised me, and my grandmother was a short 4'7" in height grandmother, and I remember she had a blue wooden spoon over the stove that all she had to do was look at it. But because of the relation we talked about earlier, the relationship that I have with my grandmother, there were certain things that if she was just like you said, give you the look, it was like, okay, like she can be in the choir stand and look at me and I would shift. I was like, oh, let me get my life together because my grandmother is about to snatch me up if I don't get it together in this here pew, right? So it was that. But I think for my mom just didn't have the same patience. Like my mom just was like, hurry up and get it together because you're embarrassing me. I'm around all these people. And so there wasn't, sometimes the discipline that my mom gave was just unfair because I'm like, wait, why did you, like, you just, I was always, I'm a therapist now as a result of being able to communicate. I was always a communicator. And I think because my mom didn't have that growing up, she wasn't allowed to communicate. There were some aspects of my communication and me asking why or how come or why are you doing that challenged her. And so therefore she was just like, I'm just going to pop you and tell you to be quiet so that you don't challenge me right now to question my own parenting skills. And so that's where I think my grandmother, I maybe got one spanking from my grandmother in my entire life. And it wasn't even a spank. It was a pop or a pinch. I think it was a pinch because she got me good with under the arm pinch. But I think, she didn't have to because she knew that when she told me something that my desire, because of my relationship with her, was to be obedient and make her proud. And so one of the things that my grandma taught me is like, you're representing this family when you're walking out of this house. So make sure you're not acting a hot mess, so.
I have a question, and just raise your hand if you can relate to this question. Were you raised in a household where children were seen and not heard? Anyone? Were you raised in a household where you were seen and not heard? You really weren't allowed to have an opinion. You just did what you were told. Anybody? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So most of us. I would say for me, definitely seen and not heard. And that is one of the reasons why I parent the way I parent today. My kids get to ask why. They get to have an opinion as long as it's done and said respectfully. Mm-hmm. Tell me what's the key today? I'm gonna still give you my opinion and tell you, if it's something that's serious, okay, look, you just got to do what I'm telling you to do. We can have a conversation about it later, or we can have a conversation about it now, but after the conversation is over, I still need you to do what I said, I need you to do. But if it's something that's negotiable, okay, let's have this conversation, and then whatever you decide is what we'll go with. It depends on the subject, right? Tiffany?
Someone said in the text box, I was going to say in the chat box, only speak when you're spoken to.
Yeah.
And that's what we were taught is you speak when you're spoken to, you go out of the room. When parents are drinking and talking or having fun, we have to go out of the room, go play outside. You go play outside, find something to do, and come back inside. That was how we were raised. But I think
that's why there's a huge bunch of people in my office now that are dealing with trauma from their childhood because they were not able to speak. They were only told not to be heard. And so therefore we have a whole community of people that don't believe in therapy because of why they were spoken to in that way. And it's a challenge sometimes to allow people to talk about their truth and what's really going on in their life because of the seeds that have been planted in our lives of be quiet, what happens in this house stays in this house. We're not going to talk about it. I know I just beat you up, but you're just going to have to be quiet and take it. You know what I mean? So,
yeah. I have something that I share with my children, and it's just from this conversation and experiences. When you're out to dinner or if you're at a dinner table with your kids, for one, we never really ate together for dinner growing up. But now we make an effort to with my family because I didn't have that growing up. but I encourage my daughter to talk with us. You know how when before quarantine, you go out and you see kids on their iPads, and I did it for a while until I noticed, wow, like there's so many kids at these tables in restaurants on their parents' phone, on their phone, or on an iPad watching these little videos. And it just, to me, was so sad one day where we took it away from her and we start talking to her. We allowed her to be involved in our adult conversation. So now when we're actually talking and we're at someone's house, or she doesn't overstep her boundaries and talk adult conversation, but we allow her to speak with us and not say, be quiet, go out the room, who are you talking to? So I want my son to grow up the same way, to feel like if you have an opinion, yes, it may take them a while to get their point across because they're still learning, but that's how they learn. We have to teach our children, our brown children, how to conversate and speak properly and pronounce their words and to speak eloquently and go out in public and be okay and confident to speak their minds. Because if we don't teach them, who's going to teach them?
Yeah, that's good.
Absolutely. And also, letting them speak shows them that they're truly valued.
Yeah.
Like all of us, we want to be seen, we want to be heard, and we want to be valued. That's one of the things that Oprah Winfrey talks about all the time. That is the core of what we all want. That's what we want. That's what we need. It's what we crave. And so to be able to sit at the table and to do that, it speaks volumes to how we feel valued as individuals, and then as we grow up as adults. One of the rules that we set really early on is no electronics at the table. There's no electronics at our table ever. Not in the house, not at a restaurant. It's just the rule. No electronics at the table. Now, there might be an occasional exception, but it's always, do you mind if I check that because I was waiting for such and such to send me my homework or something like that. But there are no electronics at that table. And I think that one rule to me was one of our most important rules in the house, because it forces us to set that aside during the time that we're eating.
That's good.
And spend that together.
Good. Yep.
I teach my children, yes, I want you to have the freedom to speak your mind. At the same time, I need you to balance that with understanding that freedom means self-discipline.
Right.
I don't want you to think you could just speak your mind and whenever you want to here in the house, because when you go out in the real world, you still have to have self-discipline. You can't say everything you want to say that comes to mind.
No.
If it's not, I teach them what's appropriate, in this setting, what's appropriate in this setting. Even though you may think something, it doesn't mean it's supposed to always come out of your mouth. You can be sitting around the table and you can think something, but sometimes the most powerful person is the one who can be graceful enough to not say what they're thinking.
That's right. Silence is golden.
Golden.
Silence is really golden. I'm going to go through these next questions because we are way past our time now.
Right, and we have some questions that have come into the chat. One about dating.
We do. We're going to get there in one moment. I want to get through the rest of these and then we're going to go to the chat. All right, ladies? So this is going to be rapid fire. I want your quick answers. We ready?
Yep.
All right. Okay, let me go back. How do you make your children smile? Tenise.
Unmute. Okay, so my kiddos they're really little. I have a almost 1-year-old and a almost 3-year-old. So it's very simple. Just laughing and joking with them. Just they're still lovable and think that I'm adorably funny right now.
All right, Brooke, how do you make your children smile?
Sorry, pressed the wrong button. Every Friday we order pizza and we have a movie night in the living room, and they put out their blanket and have a picnic in the living room every Friday. So right now that's how they smile.
That's so cute. Nicola, how do you make your children smile?
We sing a lot of songs here. I cannot sing at all, but we have like several family songs that we've made up with our family. So if like my son's getting a little or my daughter's a little moody, I just sing one of my songs and I do my little dance.
Okay. So similar to the question that we had earlier about our mothers, if your children were on this Zoom right now, what would they say about you? Very brief. Kuae, what would your children say about you?
I think they would say that mom's fun.
That's
I
good.
do.
That's good. Ivory, what would your children say about you?
My daughter would probably say that I'm very kind, but also strict. So.
Cheli?
My children would say that I'm not good at technology at all.
We would say that too, Cheli.
I would agree, and I would agree with all of y'all.
Oh gosh. Let's see, Shalaun, what would your children say about you?
Well, you know what, to keep it real, lately, Shania would say I don't get her. I don't do anything for her, and I don't allow her freedom because she is having problems with being quarantined. And then Miles would say that I'm annoying.
And remind us how old your children are.
So my daughter is 17 and Miles is 13. But actually, I mean, that's the way I feel. They feel,
appropriate thoughts based on their age. Very appropriate.
Yeah, and you know what? But Mother's Day, they said some beautiful things to me. So, you know.
Good. It's working, right? All right. Next question. What do you find yourself constantly repeating to your children? Stephanie. Rapid fire.
Well, do your homework. With being quarantined, it's like constant reminders, like get on your Zoom, do your homework, or clean your room.
That's a good one. Tiffany.
Take a shower. Why do I have to keep reminding you to take a shower? Take a shower. It's 9 o'clock. Take a shower. It's 10 o'clock. Take a shower. I will. That's her response all the time. I will. So we see how many days goes by without her taking a shower.
Cree, what do you constantly repeat to your children?
Clean up after yourself. You don't have a maid in this house. If you take it out, you don't put it back.
Yes, that's good. Danae, I see your little one behind you. What are you constantly having to tell her?
Lass das, which means stop it in German. Both of them, all the time.
With the clenched teeth, stop it.
In German, because that's the only way that they hear.
Gotcha. Mine would be wash your hands. And not just because of this pandemic. I am a germaphobe. I've been a germaphobe all my life. So I am constantly telling my children to wash their hands. I don't need the dirt that you brought in from outside in the car, even touching the door on the way in. Wash your hands. So now I'm considered normal because everybody's doing that because of the pandemic.
Right.
All right, next question.
I tell my kids to stop snacking.
Oh,
get out of the kitchen, stop snacking.
That's a good one. All right, let's see. How do you balance being a mother and all of your other roles? Give us your quick best advice. I know that's hard to do, but give us your quick best advice on balancing motherhood and everything else that you do. Tenise.
Allow yourself grace. Make a list, have a plan, and celebrate your wins. You're never going to finish your list or your plan, so celebrate your wins and what you can do and why.
That's good. Nicola.
When I'm with my children, I have a pretty demanding job, so when I'm with my children, it is their time. That's really important to just make sure that they understand that they are my top priority. When I'm with them, it's quality over maybe quantity sometimes. That's good.
Cheli.
I get up earlier. That's just, I have to get up earlier. That's all I can do. I get those early morning hours in. They are precious to me. And so I balance by getting up earlier. That's what my world awakes.
Brooke, how do you balance?
Same as Tenise. I make schedules and to-do lists, and everything has their block of time. So between this time and this time, I only do work. This time and this time is for them. This time and this time, I allow myself to eat. But I have to have those specific blocks of time every day for specific things.
Okay, next question. What is your greatest joy as a mother? Stephanie.
Honestly, the fact that I was able to have children, I think that's been the greatest joy. The fact that I can be called a mom And the fact that they're all very different, but parts of me is in there. So I love that.
That's good. Cree.
I love just watching my children grow. I love living in the moment and teaching them don't worry about the past and don't worry too much about the future.
Yeah.
Live right now. It's a gift, and that's why it's called the present.
Yeah, my dad used to say that. Ivory, greatest joy.
Okay, sorry, my mute was not working. My greatest joy is to see my children exhibit the love that I give to them, to each other. So when they're kind, when they're sweet, don't get me wrong, they still fight, but yeah.
That's sweet. Danae, what's your greatest joy?
Did you say Danae?
Yes.
Yeah, just seeing them express joy, seeing them happy.
That's good. All right, we're down to the last few questions and then we'll go to the ones in the chat and then we are going to wrap up. What traits from your mother do you hope to have if you don't already? Shalaun.
Traits.
Want me to come back to you?
Wow. I would say, yeah, come back to me. Just come back to me.
Okay, let's go to Kuae.
My mother was a fierce advocate for her children. And it's a trait I think I have and I want to have more so. My mom decided very early on that she was going to be a partner in our education, which was a commitment that I made to myself and my children very early on. I say to them all the time, and my kids are older now, they're 17, 20, and 23, but all the time I say to them, you know, I'm your partner in this, I'm your partner in your education, and we're going to be doing this together. And so I think I learned that from my mother because she made it really clear to me that she was my partner in that.
That's good, Kuae. Brooke, what about you? Traits from your mother?
Well, a trait that I hope that I have from my mom that I recognize now as a positive trait is her, is her dedication to herself. And I think when I was younger, I saw it as being selfish, but I recognize now that she made herself a priority when it came to self-care, getting her hair done every week, her nails done every week, which she still does, even though the quarantine is like messing with her spirit because she can't do that. But I recognize it now for what it is. It's just her taking that time for herself, taking a break from being a mommy, a break from being a wife. So that's one of the main traits that I hope that I can soak up and not apologize to myself for taking time for myself.
That is excellent. That is excellent. This is actually kind of in the same vein of what you just talked about. What do you appreciate about your mother now that you're an adult? So you just spoke about that, Brooke. Anyone else want to speak to that? I'll let you jump in. Let's get about 3 of you.
What do you appreciate my mother's work ethic? She used to never miss work. I thought that was amazing. And I appreciate her Christian guidance. And I'll leave it at that.
That's good. Shalaun,
you know what? For me, my mom was always there for me. I never remember a time where she missed something that I did. She was always at my track meets, or if I was cheerleading, she was there. And I didn't know how blessed I was to have her with me all the time, you know? So.
That's good. Cheli, were you going to jump in?
I was. I really appreciate how smart my mother was with finances. My mother has dementia now, and she's also in a wheelchair. So, and she's 89, and she lives with us. And so a lot of people in the similarly situated rely on their daughters or their son-in-laws to help them out financially. My mother could buy and sell me and my husband 10 million times, okay?
That's great.
And so, it is, so we do not have to worry about, her care. She needed to go into a rehab facility because she had been in the hospital and she wasn't in there for 3 days. So we had to pay out of pocket, and it was like, okay, we'll pay out of pocket, and not my pocket, her pocket. You know what I'm saying? For that 30 days of care, which was 5 figures, a big 5-figure number. So I'm really appreciative of her wisdom and that pay yourself first ethic. And I'm learning to be more and more like that.
That's good. I would say I appreciate my mother for her sacrifices. I didn't realize when I was younger how much she was sacrificing. My parents divorced when I was 10. And my mom raised my sister and I, as a single mother. My dad was very involved, even though, they weren't married anymore, but he was very involved. But I didn't realize how much she sacrificed. Like, I used to get upset when we couldn't do certain things, and, I don't have this for that, or I don't have this for that. And I would get really frustrated sometimes and really upset with her. I didn't realize how much she was sacrificing at that time. And it just made me value and appreciate her that much more as an adult. Because we're a two-parent, family. And, to realize that my mom did all of these things on her own, by herself with 2 daughters. So I think the sacrifice is what I appreciate most about my mom. What traits do you possess that you hope to pass on to your children, Danae?
Ooh,
you possess now. Now we're not talking about your mother, we're talking about you.
Ethnic pride. Right? I find that so I do not refer to my children as mixed race. I refer to them as Black and African American. And this is not about shade, but I do think that there are a lot of people who are mixed race, not all by any stretch of the imagination, but a lot who seem to use that identity as like proximity to whiteness, like less than Black. And I hope that they have some pride in, like, Black is, by African American is, by definition, all the things, all the shades, all the lineages. That is, by definition, African American. And we're in a space where there just are not very many of us, right? And so I hope they have some ethnic pride, because I grew up with a lot of pride.
That's good. I'm actually going to go around the room for this one, and this would actually be one of the last 2 questions. So we have one more after this. So give us your concise answers on this one. Tiffany, what traits do you possess that you want to pass on to your children?
I hope that I get a chance to pass down, I hope that they see in me and that they want to do for themselves is to be giving, because we are blessed. We are blessed. We are more blessed than, like, I remember growing up. And that's one of the lessons that I tell my kids, is that, especially my daughter, I tell her, she's so involved in dance. She's on her dance competition team, and we travel with them, and she's in these competitions and she's dancing. And I said, we're so involved in your life. We're a dance family. I'm a dance mom. And I don't remember my parents being that involved for me. And you have to remember to give back because you're so blessed. So, like, one of the other things I teach her is that when you buy new clothes, is you need to get rid of some clothes, and those clothes need to be donated. You need to be able to go and help others, like help other little girls learn how to dance. So she volunteers as one of the assistant teachers to help other little girls dance. So
that's good.
Yeah.
That's good. Stephanie.
Yes, I want my children to know the power of kindness, and then also inclusivity. I think it is so important to make sure that no matter who you are, what color, what race, what ability you have, we're going to welcome you in our circle and love on you just for who you are. And so I think that is definitely something that I want to pass on to my children, that that people, the human race, matters.
Shalaun.
I would say Faithfulness. That's what I would really want for them.
That's good. Brooke.
My husband created a mantra for our families that Hawkins boys and Hawkins girls don't quit. So just the idea that whatever you set your mind to do, you're not quitters in this family. You're going to try your best. If it doesn't work out, that's fine, as long as you tried your best.
Kuae.
I would say just three main things. The ability to unconditionally love people. And a huge emphasis on the word unconditional, to have unconditional love for people. That community service be a part of the fabric of their lives. It's not that you just do community service, it's just a part of your life, just like you get up in the morning and brush your teeth. That's what you do. And then lastly, that they always be opportunity seekers for themselves and for their children. I am a huge proponent of finding and seeking opportunities for my children and for others. So I want them to carry that forward with their own families and with others in the community.
That's good. Cheli.
I want my children to understand something that I say all the time, and that is hard work beats talent. When talent work hard, that's what I want them to get.
That's good. Cree.
I want my children to keep in their hearts to absolutely love themselves. Because if they truly love themselves, they can truly love someone else. Love thy neighbor as you love thyself. But you can't truly love anybody else if you truly don't love yourself and love yourself unconditionally. Forgive yourself and give that same unconditional love to others.
Nicola.
I would say for my children, I would want to pass on what was given to me, which is that my parents, I always felt heard, listened to. And that is so important, I think, to who they are as people, that, you know, they're good listeners, and that I listen to them. So that's the trait that I would want to be passing on.
That's good. Ivory?
One of the traits I would want to pass on is to be kind to others. It doesn't cost anything to be kind. Smile, give someone a smile is being kind. You never know what someone's going through or what they went through, you know, that day, the day before. So it doesn't hurt to be kind.
Tenise?
Take the time to really know yourself and love yourself. Always give back or pay it forward, however you look at it, and financial literacy.
Danae?
I think I went already.
No,
Pride, ethnic pride, that was me.
That's right. That's right. That was a really good one. I don't know how I forgot that. I would say faith. Faith can conquer anything. And for me, it's really, really, really important that my children have a strong faith base. That's how we've raised them. And I want them to take that with them for the rest of their lives, because they'll never feel like they're alone if they always have God to lean on and God to sustain them. That's super, super important to me. The other thing similar to Kuae is opportunities. I am always looking, you all know, I'm always looking for opportunities for my children and sharing those opportunities with other people so that they can have those same opportunities for their children.
We share some stuff, LaShaun.
Yeah, we do. I'm hoping that my children will do that for their children. And lastly, I would say that I want them to always feel like they are enough. My dad used to say something growing up, no one can make you feel inferior without your permission. No one can make you feel inferior without your permission. You have to give them permission to make you feel that way. So I always want them to feel like they are enough. All right, last question. And then we can go to the chat. We can have an after party. We can let some people go. We can let some people hang out. It's up to y'all. Last question. How did you celebrate your isolated, quarantined Mother's Day? What did you do? What did you do? How did you celebrate? Come on, jump in, talk to me.
We had a huge family Facebook chat with all of my aunts and cousins and sisters and nieces and nephews, and we all wished each other happy Mother's Day, and we got to see people we haven't seen in ages, just loving on each other. It was wonderful.
That's fantastic. Anybody else want to share?
As far as the Hordge household was concerned, I did nothing, and it was wonderful. But I also participated in a secret Mocha gift exchange with our local chapter. And then my mom, aunts, and sister and cousin, we did that as well with my sister-in-law and mother-in-law. And we also had a big family chat, Facebook chat group with my grandmother, aunts, cousins, and sister. It was wonderful.
Love it. Love it. Anybody else?
So my husband went to pick up tea, food, and tea from one of my favorite tea houses in New Jersey, which is in Westwood, New Jersey. It's called Harmony Tea Room, and I've been there every year, maybe 2 or 3 times a year. And I saw an email that said Mother's Day tea to go. And I said, okay, that's what I want. I want it to go. And the lady, she made everything from scratch. She had a soup, we had quiche, the whole finger sandwiches and the desserts and the tea bags. And I came home, he picked it up, and we came home and we set everything out like a real tea party, like as if we were out. And I made my daughter get dressed up for 2 seconds, and we had a nice tea party.
Nice.
That is so cute. Brooke, you were going to jump in. Go ahead.
Yes, so I'm kind of like Tenise, so I made sure I didn't do anything. I got up and I made the kids breakfast and took my butt back to sleep, then woke up and made brunch for one, made myself a mimosa, I made myself some scrambled eggs, some cinnamon rolls, then went back to sleep. And my husband, his job was to order food. And my husband is kind of like Cheli, he's very technologically deficient. So he's like, I don't know how to order food online. So he ended up driving to Wendy's. And I was like, you know what? I didn't have to cook it, so I don't care what I eat. So I had Wendy's and I had my mimosa. And that was my Mother's Day.
Come on, Wendy's and mimosa. Make it work.
Right. Well, my husband cooked breakfast. He cooked dinner. He and my daughter went out and planted some flowers, which was wonderful, just seeing them together, working together.
Oh.
And Shania made like a homemade Mother's Day card for me, which was really sweet. So nice.
That's sweet. Nicola, what did you do?
I kind of stole an idea from our chapter. For our chapter, we did a socially distant brunch with all our chapter members. We had a Zoom call. We delivered brunch, the executive board members, to our chapter members. And so I did something similar. I had brunch delivered to my mom at her home in Boston, and to my sister, and then we had a Zoom call. My husband ordered brunch for me, and we had a Zoom call, and we all had brunch together, which was really nice and a surprise for them. And then my husband took the kids out, which is what I asked him to do. I said, I don't care where you take them. I really don't know where you're going to go, and I don't care, and I just want to take a nap, and that is what I did.
Good for you. Good for you. Anybody else want to share?
Breakfast in bed. The kids made breakfast in bed, sort of, and and sushi for dinner. It was exactly what I asked for.
That's awesome. So I'll share. My husband did breakfast in bed, and then I kind of just hung out for most of the day. Didn't do much of anything other than I hopped on a Zoom call. My sister and I set up a Zoom call kind of to surprise my mom, she just texted me, she's watching now. Hi, Mommy. We surprised her and set up a Zoom call, my sister and I and our children. So when she signed on, we were all on there, Happy Mother's Day. And then she put us on hold because she wanted to attend her church service on Zoom. So we technically went to church with my mom on Sunday because she left it on so we could all hear the word as if we, didn't hear our own, word from our own church, and she wanted us to hear hers. And then I had sent her gifts. I sent my grandmother her gifts, so we were on the phone with them. And then I came downstairs and my husband kept telling me not to go into the kitchen or the dining room. When he finally allowed me in there, the table was set. There was a menu sitting there that had my name on it. Every single dish on the menu was named after my husband and my children, something special. So it was a personalized menu. He and the girls literally served me like little waitresses. It was beautiful. And then he ordered my favorite red velvet cupcakes from one of my good girlfriends who makes amazing red velvet cupcakes. And she put them in a box that looked like a bouquet of roses. I specifically said no flowers because I didn't want to have to deal with the allergies and all the things and then end up at the hospital and asthma and all, so no flowers for Mother's Day. And then, you know, all the little wonderful gifts. My youngest daughter knows that I've been wanting to start my own garden, but I can't here where I live because our backyard is facing the golf course, so they won't let us plant anything out there. So she bought me my own garden that I could grow in the house. So I'm really excited about that. And my oldest daughter did a jar of 76 things that I love about you. And can I tell y'all, I got through maybe 4 or 5 of those and I was a bawling, crying, ugly mess.
76?
76. And she wrote them all on little tiny sheets of paper and folded them up and put them in this jar. 76 things. So sometimes when you think your kids aren't listening, they're really paying attention because some of the things that were on the sheets were things that I've instilled in them over the years.
That's sweet.
Wow. Those are one of those priceless gifts, right? You can't put money on that kind of stuff. Right? So it was beautiful. It was just a beautiful, relaxing day. And then later on in the evening, we played games. We played song association. My husband and I slow danced in the living room. It was a great day. It was a beautiful day. Beautiful, beautiful day. It was awesome. It was awesome.
I think my husband would kill me if I didn't mention the fact that he built a garden bed for me because I wanted to start gardening. Yes. I mean, literally, like, went to Home Depot with his mask, brought home big pieces of wood, got the saw out in the backyard. I was like, wow.
Ivory and LaShaun, we have to connect afterwards. Well, not tonight, but about gardening.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Me too.
Maybe we need to have a Mocha chat for gardening.
Yes.
Or Zoom.
Facebook page.
Let's set
I'll
that
send
up.
it to you. I'll put
And hair care, ladies, don't forget hair care.
And hair care. And hair care.
I'm gonna say there's a chapter of, I'm gonna forget what it is, but there's a chapter having having a gardening Zoom thing on Sunday.
Oh, I heard about that. Yeah.
Yeah, I forgot which chapter it is, but I'll definitely I'll put it in the chat as soon as I can look it up.
Yeah. Share it. Okay, one last question, ladies, and then we are done. There has been someone asking this question several times in the chat, and I definitely want to have it answered. What is your advice as a mother on parenting during this pandemic? Anyone?
Okay, I have one thing, and that is try to parent with grace, because this is a very new experience for all of us, but particularly our children, because their routines are shot. They're away from their friends, they're away from things that they like. And so we really have to remember that and not come down so terribly hard on them. The seniors are missing out on their proms, their graduations. The juniors are stressed out because they can't take the SAT and they didn't take the ACT and all of that. So I think there are things that we have to just understand aren't that critical. So as much as I want to say, can you please clean up your room? I only say it about half as many times as I really need to say.
Just half, huh?
About half, because I don't want this time period to be remembered by my children when they grow up in a kind of terrible way. I don't want to make it worse for them than it already is.
That's a good point, Cheli.
Yeah, I would add to that to find moments to breathe during the day. For me and for all of us, I think sometimes things are fusing together. I mean, sometimes I look up and I don't even realize what day it is because I'm working from home, I'm doing everything from home, we're all doing everything from home. And so, take time to breathe. And when I say that, take a walk, meditate for a little while, close your eyes and listen to some soothing music. Whatever it is that helps you breathe better, do it and do it several times throughout the day so you can, change things up throughout your day and get through it easier.
I would add to that, Kuae, to shift the way we think about this period, as difficult as it is, to think about it as a gift that we're given to see our children differently or to see our children more, and all those ways that we are making sure to take care of ourselves, that this is a moment to also teach our children how to get through a tough time, how to take care of ourselves and how to take care of themselves through this difficulty. And I think that's one of the greatest lessons that we can use this time for.
That's
Teach them, this is how you handle hard times.
Yeah, I was gonna say that too. I think there's definitely something, there's a major shift in the atmosphere spiritually, and maybe this is the exact time that our children need to be protected. And they need to be close to parents. For what reason, I'm not sure, but I know there's a shift. And with that shift, take it as a gift. We can actually see each other instead of doing this all the time. Just moving so fast, you don't even get to see. You don't get to see your children, like who they are in each moment. So I've really been enjoying that. So, and then just take it easy. Don't take life so serious sometimes. It's okay. Just go outside. And the other day I said, we're going outside. They said, well, Mommy, can we play in the water? I said, yeah. So I turned on the water hose and it was just a moment to let go.
I think also we just have to give ourselves and give everybody in the house a pass, because sometimes, you get cabin fever and you just want to get away, and somebody, my daughter sometimes just, gets frustrated, and I'm just like, it's okay. It's okay.
Yeah, that's good. I'm learning to cherish every moment. My daughters, as I mentioned earlier, they're teenagers. One is 16 and one is 17. My 17-year-old will be entering her senior year. And so in a very short period of time, she'll be away at college when all of this is over. And I won't be able to see her as often as I would like to. And the thought of that makes me weep. Because I'm so used to, my life being surrounded with my girls and by my girls. My oldest daughter drives now, so she has a car. She drives her sister to school. She has dance. She works. She has an internship in DC. And so she's always going and going and going and going. So I am cherishing this time that I have with them because we're always going in 11 different directions. So I'm grateful for this time that I can wake up in the morning and I can see them and I can hug them and I can have breakfast with them and I can hear their laughter in my house. I cherish hearing them laugh, the sound of their laughter in my house. I know those days are soon going to be few and far between because, a few short years from now, they're going to be away at college. I am enjoying just them being here. Danae, I'm going to turn it over to you and give you the last word and you can wrap us up.
Gosh. This has been such a beautiful time to spend with each other and talking about mothering, both what's come before us and what we're hoping to pass on. I was thinking in the very beginning, especially at this time when sisterhood is so important, that I just really wanted to take a moment to thank Cheli for her vision as a co-founder of this organization. And she couldn't have known more than 20 years ago how important the sisterhood would be in a moment like this. And yet she knew how important this sisterhood would be. And so can we just take a moment to collectively thank Cheli for her role in this?
Thank you, Cheli.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Love you, Cheli.
You're so welcome.
Love you.
Love you.
Guys, you're so sweet.
Thank you for being the heart of our organization.
Oh, thank you guys for carrying on the vision.
Our
so
pleasure.
With that, those who want to leave can leave, and those who would like to stay can stay. There was one other question about dating and if we would allow our kids to date at 14 or if we were going to do something else. And so we can hang out for that question, and you can leave, or you can stay and eat a hot dog like I'm going to do.
I'm gonna hop off and get some food. I'm gonna try to hop back on if you guys are still on, but I'm gonna go get something to eat.
I'm arranging marriages.
Bye, guys. Have a lovely evening.
So much
Mocha love.
Bye.
Much Mocha love.
Mocha love.
So Danae, we still have quite a few people on. Did you want to talk about the dating question?
Yeah, I was not allowed to date until I was 16, and I did not date then. And so my kids are going to be allowed to date when they're 36. And they're going to be dating people with whom I've arranged their relationships and their marriages.
Arranged marriages, arranged dating. Right. You know, I'm not opposed to that.
There's something about that.
I agree. What do you think?
And don't be mad if somebody is engaged to Denzel, like the offspring of Denzel Washington or Idris Elba, because I'm just
you know, it's funny. I think dating's important. I think it's important in terms of learning yourself. I also think, though, that dating invites a heartache most of the time.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a balance between wanting, you know, the children to get that experience, but trying to guard their hearts as well. And there was a movement that, I don't know if it's still on or not, but it's dating is, you know, I don't date, I court. And so that is a movement that was really popular, I guess maybe 10 years ago or so. There was a book, I don't know if anyone remembers that book, but there was a book, and my son, who is 26, he grew up in that era. He went to a Christian school, staunchly Christian school. They did not believe in dating. The girls and the boys who went to school together were seen as siblings. Yes, your sister, that's your brother. And so the thinking was, you know, when you wanted to date, that meant you wanted to get court. That meant you were ready to marry, period. So, yeah, there's something about that too, you know?
It's so funny. I was actually joking about the kids. As much as I want to hold them that way, I was never a courter. I didn't want to get married, and I didn't want to have exclusive relationships. I didn't want to, I enjoyed being entertained for the time that I was entertained and with whom I chose when I chose, and not having to be obligated to anyone. So I think I had a lot of dating, very, very, very few commitments.
Ah,
So
that's interesting.
girls got to eat.
Oh my gosh, Danae. You know, I think our rule here in our house is that you can't date until, you know, you're mature enough to be able to handle, you know, dating. The one thing I will say though, when my oldest daughter came to us and asked us, you know, if she could start dating, my husband was opposed to it. I believe I talked him into it a bit, and here's why. I didn't want her to just have her first dating experience when she got to college, when she was outside of our home. I felt like if we allowed her to do it while she was here, that we could help guide the process. We could help guide the conversations. We would have more of a say-so, if you will, in what was happening during, you know, their dating time, or at least, you know, they're going out and all of that. We felt like it would be a great opportunity for us to share with her how things should be done and what she should accept, what she shouldn't accept, what was appropriate, what was inappropriate. And I just didn't want the first experience with that to be when she was outside of our house. So,
yes, I agree. I agree. I agree.
That's smart.
Yeah.
No,
So what age was mature enough?
So for her, she started dating at 16. So she was coming towards the end of her sophomore year, going into her junior year when she started dating. So, and they've been together for a year now. So, but it's been great because you also get to see, you know, people say, oh, you know, because I got to know who he is, or, you know, that joker, I got to see what he's all about. But it also allowed us to see how she conducted herself. Yeah. That was big for us to be able to watch that, even when she didn't know we were paying attention. You know, that was big. And when we saw things that needed to be corrected, then we were able to say, hey, come here for a minute. Let's have a conversation about that. And let's make some adjustments there. You know, so it just allowed us more of a hands-on approach. Can you imagine your child going to college for the first time, not having ever, you know, had any type of connection or any type? I didn't want that for them. If I could help it,
I could absolutely imagine it. Yeah, because mine didn't. I mean, not that I didn't stop them from dating. I mean, I'm not, you know, I didn't say you can't date.
Yeah.
You got to have opportunity.
It just didn't happen. Yeah. Yeah. But the beauty of it, Cheli, for you is that your daughter is in college not far away.
Yes.
So that's a bit of a gift there.
Tell me about it. She goes to college closer than she went to high school.
Wow. College is up the street. Yeah. Whew. I don't know. Were there any other questions, Danae, that popped up in here in the chat?
Nope, that was the last one. We made it through all of them.
We made it through all of them. This was a wonderful conversation. I'm just so grateful that things turned out the way that they did. People were engaged. People were excited about being part of the conversation. Even though we had some tech issues on the front end, I am grateful that you all stuck through it, and that we were able to maintain and have a fantastic conversation for our after Mother's Day Mocha chat. So thank you guys for being here. I love you all to pieces. You already know that. You're my sisters, and enjoy the rest of your night. And those of you that have joined us via this webinar, thank you for joining. Thank you. Many of you have been here from the start and you stayed past the end because we ended a few minutes ago. So thank you all for joining us as well. If you would like more information on our organization, please go to www.mochamoms.org. That is MOCHAMOMS.org. You can also follow us on Facebook. You can follow us on Twitter. You can follow us on Instagram. Make sure that you stay connected. And if you are looking for a local chapter in your area, you can also find that information on our website. Again, mochamoms.org. Good night, everyone.